What is good, y'all? It's your girl Queen B coming to y'all with yet another reaction. So for those who don't know, today is January 10th, and today is the day that Trump had to virtually go to court for 34 accounts that they threw on this man. And unfortunately, they are trying to proceed to tarnish this man's name 10 days before he is sworn in to the White House on January 20th, y'all, his inauguration. So they just trying to do whatever they can to try to screw this man's name up. Now, we all know, the real ones, that this is some BS, okay? 34 accounts, never heard of. And if that's the case, if we just gonna be throwing, unconditional discharge in this case, let's just go ahead and start doing it to all the other ones that we know who are boldly guilty of things. You get what I'm saying? We know these things. But no, they can be pardoned and they can be swept up underneath the rug, and it can be out there and then boom, gone. You know what I'm saying? So if that's the case, and it's not fair anyway, let's just go ahead and start busting out more cases then. If that's the case, you get what I'm saying? With that being said, y'all, let's read, and then we're going to dive into the video. Highlight: Judge sentences Trump to unconditional discharge in hush money case. All right. January 10th. What to know as Trump is sentenced. President-elect Donald Trump was sentenced to an unconditional discharge in New York hush money case, making the first president to have been sentenced for a criminal conviction once he sworn in office January 20th. The crazy thing is, Trump was pretty much raised in New York. So the place that he's been his entire life is the same place that turned their back on him. Make that make sense. That's something. The unconditional discharge, which states Judge Juan Merchant trifling tale, said he was likely to impose, allows Trump's conviction on 34 counts, which is never heard of, which is ridiculous, of falsifying business records to stand with no further penalties such as jail time. You shouldn't even we shouldn't even be talking about this right now. But anywho, they petty. The sentences was allowed to go forward after the Supreme Court decided 5 to 4 days yesterday to reject Trump's request to drop the proceeding. Trump said he thought it was fair decision and referred to possible further appeals. Yep, keep fighting this, as y'all should, such as of the verdict. Trump was convicted in May of falsifying records related to hush money that his then attorney Michael Cohen paid adult film star Stormy Daniels in the closing days of the 2016 presidential election. Daniels testified that she has a blank encounter with Trump in 2006, which he has denied. If we can just go on a list of people who were presidents and were come on, y'all. We know this is some BS. This was just another wrench they tried to throw in there to stop this man from his second term. So with that being said, y'all, we about to dive into the video, and then we're going to chop it up towards the end and talk. Let's get into it.
Would your client like to be heard?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. This has been a very terrible experience. I think it's been a tremendous setback for New York and the New York court system. This is a case that Alvin Bragg did not want to bring. He thought it was, from what I read and from what I hear, inappropriately handled before he got there. A gentleman from a law firm came in and acted as a district attorney, and that gentleman, from what I heard, was a criminal or almost criminal in what he did. It was very inappropriate. It was somebody involved with my political opponent. Part of the records that we're talking about, they're saying, I just noticed where he said I was falsifying business records. Well, the falsification of business records, as they said, was calling a legal expense in the books where everybody could see them, a legal expense. In other words, that legal fees or legal expense were put down as legal expense by accountants. They weren't put down by me, they were put down by accountants. I didn't call them construction, concrete work. I didn't call them electrical work. I didn't call them anything. They called a legal fee or a legal expense, and for this, I got indicted. It's incredible, actually. Now, if you look, my attorney alluded to it. the top legal scholars and legal pundits in this country, the ones that are quoted all the time on television, that are making their views felt, and highly respected people, have said, everyone, virtually everyone that I know of, I haven't seen any to the contrary, not one. And these people are not exactly friends of mine, to put it mildly. But they all said this is a case that should have never been brought. It's an injustice of justice. Very respected Jonathan Turley, Andy McCarthy, Judge David Rifkin, a wonderful man who just passed away, by the way, Greg Jarrett, Ellie Honig from CNN, of all places. CNN said that, Paul Ingratian, Alan Dershowitz, they all said this is not a case that should be brought. It's not, think about it, legal expenses are down as legal expenses, and I get indicted for business records. Everybody should be so accurate. It's been a political witch hunt. It was done to damage my reputation so that I'd lose the election, and obviously that didn't work. And the people of our country got to see this firsthand because they watched the case in your courtroom. They got to see this firsthand, and then they voted, and I won and got the largest number of votes by far of any Republican candidate in history, and won, as you know, all 7 swing states, won conclusively all 7 swing states, and won the popular vote by millions and millions of votes. And they've been watching your trial, so they understood it. I wasn't allowed to use the lawyer-client privilege or the reliance on counsel. I had a lawyer that made this deal, and he admitted that. And he was also a totally discredited person. We weren't allowed to use the information from the Southern District that totally discredited him. It wasn't allowed to be put in. And that was terrible, unbelievable. And this is a man who's got no standing. He's been disbarred on other matters, unrelated. And he was allowed to talk as though he were George Washington. But he's not George Washington. He shouldn't have been allowed. The Southern District did a book of approximately 28 pages where I've never seen anything like it. They excoriated him. You wouldn't let it be put into evidence. So he was able to testify as a witness, and I think it's a disgrace to the system. I was under a gag order. I'm the first president in history that was under a gag order where I couldn't talk about aspects of the case that are very important. I guess I'm still under, so probably I won't do it now.
It's crazy,
I assume
right?
I'm still under a gag order. But the fact is that I'm totally innocent. I did nothing wrong. They talk about business records, and the business records were extremely accurately counted. I had nothing to do with them. That was done by an accountant or a bookkeeper who I think gave very credible testimony and was corroborated by everybody that was asked. And with all that's happening in our country today, with a city that's burning to the ground, one of our largest, most important cities burning to the ground, with wars that are uncontrollably going on, with all of the problems of inflation and attacks on countries and all of the horrible things that are going on, I got indicted over calling a legal expense a legal expense. It's called a legal expense. I just want to say I think it's an embarrassment to New York, and New York has a lot of problems, but this is a great embarrassment. I believe that this and other cases that were brought, as you know, the DOJ is very much involved in this case. It's because that's the political opponent they're talking about. The DOJ is very involved. You have a gentleman sitting right there from the DOJ who was from the DOJ's office. He was also involved with the New York State Attorney General's case. And he went from there to here. He went around and did what he had to do. He got them to move on me. But in the meantime, I won the election in a massive landslide. And the people of this country understand what's gone on. This has been a weaponization of government. They call it lawfare. Never happened to any extent like this, but never happened in our country before. And I'd just like to explain that I was treated very, very unfairly. And I thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Trump.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.
That just baffles me, yo, that he literally had to sit up here for that. And it's a lot more stuff going on. You got Gavin Newsom not caring about what's going on down there in California. Out there. You got, like you said, wars. You got hostage state. You got what? Inflation. You got so much other. We got what? People out here attacking Americans and stuff like that. It's borders. Oh, we got so much bigger stuff to worry about. Some petty ass case because these crybabies can't play fair. We literally having to sit up here and waste a day for some stuff they put on him. But you got other people, once again, being pardoned. You got videos out being swept away. You got people that literally were setting up in January. All of that mess. You got all this stuff. And this is what they have with their time. To once again try to prolong this man from getting to the White House, which he's getting to that White House because we the people spoke up. And he getting up in there. Whether they like it or not, he getting up in there. Do y'all hear me? Keep throwing stones and rocks and whatever y'all can in this man's pathway. He's going to continue to walk right over him. Whether he's stumbling or what, he's not going to fall. He's going to remain to stand. So y'all might as well just hang the ish up and enjoy the ride.